Hello and welcome to the ComForConnections podcast. In this episode, Insight for Aging Services Pros, supporting the aging in place journey for older adults, we are joined by Janet Engel, occupational therapist, certified aging in place specialist, and owner of Home Designs for Life. Listen in as we delve into effective strategies and best practices for aging services professionals to support older adults aging in place. We will provide actionable insights on home modifications necessary for safety and accessibility, as well as valuable considerations for aging services professionals to support their clients in living as safely and independently as possible. Welcome, Janet. It's such a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you, Tiffany. I am very grateful that you invited me on here today.
Janet, can you explain the term aging in place and its significance for older adults?
Tiffany, aging in place refers to older adults remaining in their homes and their communities as they age and as their lifestyles and abilities change over time, rather than moving to an institutional setting. And it's important because it allows people to be able to remain in familiar surroundings, in the home where they've been living, where they have social connections, perhaps where they go to church, where they bank, the restaurants they like to go to. And for people who want to age in place, the best way to make that happen is to plan ahead of time before you have any health issues or anything that changes your ability.
What are common challenges for older adults as they age in place or stay in their current home?
Some of the most common challenges that older adults and caregivers face when they want to age in place is that they may not be able to find an aging in place professional, which is really crucial to helping you figure out how to set up your home so that it's as safe as possible in order to prevent falls. Other challenges to aging in place may be with social isolation and loneliness if that person does not already have a good social network set up. Also, cognitive decline. This is something that we see more commonly. It is the most common disability in the U.S. for older adults over the age of 65. Right now, it's about 12 to 8% of the population, 65 and older, has memory impairment. And then our housing stock in the U.S. 90% of the existing homes were built over 20 years ago. And this creates many challenges when it comes to creating homes that are safe. Number one, with design and construction standards, older homes tend to have fewer features like zero-step entries, wider hallways, wider doorways. They also tend to have structural limitations. For example, load-bearing walls that cannot be moved, or it would be very challenging to transfer the load somewhere else. Foundation and flooring can also be an issue. Older homes tend to have flooring that is uneven or may have very steep stairs that are out of code. And then the cost of renovation. It is obviously cheaper to create a home that is safe for aging in place when that home is in construction as opposed to retrofitting the home. And then older homes, when you do a renovation, they have to be brought up to building codes, which may mean that the electrical has to be updated, the plumbing has to be updated, mechanical systems, and this may also be cost prohibitive. And then the upkeep and maintenance of an older home is going to be more significant than that for a newer home.
Thank you, Janet, for providing these insights into the challenges, especially for older adults living in an older home or residence. thinking about how we can better support older adults who want to age in place, can you share a few best practice considerations for aging services professionals to help their clients prepare?
There are quite a few things that professionals, especially aging in place professionals, can do to help older adults who want to age in place. Number one, financial education on the programs that are available to help finance home modifications. This is very important, and usually people don't have a lot of information on programs that are available out there. One very popular program now is that HECM. It stands for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, and this is a reverse mortgage that can help people finance not only their home modifications, but it can also help people finance paying for a professional caregiver, such as in-home care, or paying for furniture, which furniture can really help people age in place or not. There are home equity lines of credits. There are also grants that are available through your community. Another aspect is connecting with a certified aging in place professional, someone who is trained and educated on home modifications can really help this individual or the caregivers in making the right decisions as to what renovations to do to the home so that you only spend money once and not have to make another renovation in another 3 or 5 years. And there are several directories where professionals or caregivers can look for these aging in place professionals. There's the aginginplacedirectory.com. There is the National Association of Home Builders website, which is the NAHB.org. They have a directory that lists professionals. And then homemods.org also has a directory where aging in place professionals are listed. I also think that consulting with a licensed realtor that is also a certified aging in place professional can be really helpful, because before you make any renovations to the home, you should have someone look through your home and assess what does that home need in order for it to be aging in place friendly. And is it worth making renovations to that particular home, or would it be better for that person to move to a new home? And then talking with your healthcare professional about fall prevention. This really is one of the most important aspects that will help someone age in place, because according to the CDC, older adults, they fall for 4 main reasons. One is problems with their vision, generalized weakness, taking medications incorrectly, and home hazards, which are responsible for half to 2/3 of all falls. And Tiffany, I also wanted to mention that the statistics show that a person over the age of 65 falls every second of every day. Also, hiring in-home care support services to assist with caregiving, with home maintenance, with activities of daily living, such as dressing, bathing, toileting, meal prep, and simply providing companionship. I think another useful suggestion is adult children may also want to consider making their own homes more visitable or livable, which means that their home is accessible from the curb, so they will have a 0-step entrance into their home where the older adult does not have to navigate stairs to get in. They also have doorways that are 32 inches wide, and they have hallways that are at least 36 inches wide and have at least half a bathroom on the ground floor. And this is going to make it much easier and safer when their loved ones, when mom and dad want to visit, it's going to be safe and accessible for them to do so.
Janet, this is such great information for helping to guide the clients that we all serve. The numbers that you are giving on the amount of falls that take place are staggering. I'm now curious, for clients who are already aging in place, are there any other steps aging services professionals should follow to help their clients live as safely and independently as possible at home?
There are many things professionals can do to continue to help people age in place. Having a home assessment, right? That's very important. And perhaps we want to do this home assessment on an annual basis, because if people bring in furniture can be a big cause for falls because it can get in the way of the person's travel path. So making sure that travel paths are not obstructed, that lighting that is in place is working properly, that there is enough lighting. Tiffany, I wanted to let you know that lighting is one of the main reasons why people fall in their homes. And it's simply because they don't have enough lighting in crucial areas like the bathroom, the kitchen, hallways, all transition areas, entrances. And so this can be easily fixed. We can make our stairs safer by placing handrails on each side, by adding lighting, especially lighting at the top of the stairs and at the bottom of the stairs. Other things that we can do is make sure that our loved one visits a healthcare professional at least, I would say, every 6 months, especially if they have a condition like diabetes, where they're already prone to falls because they may have neuropathy or they may have low vision due to retinopathy. Then we want to make sure that they're taking their medications correctly, that they're on the right medications, having their vision checked, making sure that this person is involved in some kind of physical activity, because generalized weakness is one of the main reasons why people fall. So if we can keep older adults strong, eating nutritious food, drinking plenty of water, and then taking their medications correctly and making their homes safer, it would go a long ways towards reducing fall risks in older adults.
Can you share a client story that illustrates the impact of home modifications in supporting their aging in place goals?
Yes, Tiffany, and that's a great question, because I think we all really benefit from hearing stories and learning what other people are going through and realizing that we may have similar issues. So I had this one client that she was in her 70s, and she, in her professional life, she was retired when I met her. She was a lawyer, and she was living in San Francisco with her husband, and she lived in this townhouse where she had been living for the last 20 years. Her daughter lived in Florida, so she really did not have a reliable caregiver other than her husband, which he had his own health issues. And this client also had the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. And she was trying to figure out how she could stay in this townhouse that she loved in San Francisco, as opposed to moving back to New Jersey, where she was from, but hadn't lived there in the last 25 years. And didn't have family there anymore, didn't have friends. It was just going to be more affordable than purchasing a new place in San Francisco. So she hired me to do an assessment of her bathroom, because that was the area that was causing her the most problems, which tends to be the case most of the time, is when people start having issues with their independence and with their activities of daily living, we see it in the bathroom first, especially the toilet. And she was in a wheelchair part of the time, she also used a four-wheel walker, and she could not get into her bathroom because her doorway was about 22 inches of clearance. So she sent me a video, and I wanted to say this was a virtual evaluation, and she sent me a video, she sent me measurements, she sent me pictures of her space, and with all of the information that she sent me, I was able to give her recommendations on how she could modify the existing space within that bathroom to make it more accessible for her to get in with a walker, and then to be able to access her sink, access her toilet and her shower, and then also create grab bars that would increase safety as she was walking in. And due to all of these changes that I recommended, she hired an architect, she hired a general contractor, gave them the evaluation that I put together, and was able to age in place and remain in this townhouse, which was what she wanted to do. She just couldn't find someone who could give her the right recommendations. And that's why, again, it's so important to hire a certified aging in place specialist that has the education and training to give you good, valuable information.
Thank you, Janet, for sharing this client story. It sounds like your client is living her best life. What a great example of how aging in place can be a reality for so many, thanks to home modifications. Now, could you share some helpful resources for aging services professionals to assist their clients in aging in place?
Of course. And there are lots of resources, and I am learning that there are more and more resources every year, thanks to organizations and the government, states, realizing that this is going to become a huge problem if we do not help people age in place. Because the reality is that even if everyone wanted to move to a senior living facility, that option would not be available to them. And 77% of the population, according to the AARP, wants to age in place. So some resources that are available are, as I said earlier, the Aging in Place directory website. Here you have aging in place professionals that are certified that list their businesses, and this is nationwide. We have the National Aging in Place Council. We also have VGM, which has a live at home section to their organization where they have a membership program where these professionals that are home access professionals, they specialize in these type of modifications like bathroom modifications, building ramps, making stairs safer, installing stair lifts, all of these kinds of things that we've been talking about. You also have the AARP Livable Communities resources, which if you haven't visited the AARP website, it is such a great website to get information on how to make your home safer. They have the Home Fit program where on their website, you can go through a home interactively and look at all of the areas of the home that can be made safer for someone to age in place. And then they will also mail out to professionals, to caregivers, homeowners, a pamphlet that has all of this information, and they have it in English, in Spanish, and in French, and it is free. Then there's also the National Association of Home Builders. They have a directory of certified aging in place professionals listed on their website. You also have the local area agencies on aging, which can provide people with information on different grants that come from the national to the state level and eventually to the community level. You have assistive technology databases and loan programs that are also available for people to take advantage of. Your caregiver training programs and support groups. And really the key is taking a comprehensive and personalized approach to support each client's unique needs and their goals for aging in place safely and comfortably.
Janet, it sounds like not only should you look for an expert to share their knowledge, but it's also important to be proactive versus reactive with making your home safe before accidents occur. Thank you for these resources, for getting in touch with an expert. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners?
Well, Tiffany, I just want to reiterate what you just said, because that really is the golden nugget, is you have to plan for aging in place. Just like we plan for having a baby, we plan for our careers, we also have to plan for aging in place. And if planning doesn't mean that you're admitting to being old or having a disability, we can be perfectly healthy, active, and in fact, that's when we want to plan for aging in place, because planning is going to allow us to remain in control. We're going to be able to make changes to our home that are not only going to make it safer, more functional, but they're also going to make our home more beautiful, which means that when we resell our home, it's going to sell it for more money. And if you include universal design features in your renovations, it's estimated that your home value will increase by at least 5%. And considering that we have 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every single day until the year 2030, that means that you have a lot of people that are going to be interested in homes that have universal and accessible features, such as wall blocking, better lighting, security systems, zero-step entrances. The list goes on and on. So by planning, we can actually remain in control and choose where we live. And I think that is really the most important message, is plan for aging in place so that you can remain independent for as long as possible and continue to have quality of life.
Thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your insights on aging in place and how aging services professionals can better support older adults experiencing this transition.
Oh, you're welcome, Tiffany. Thank you so much for inviting me to ComForCare's podcast.
Listeners, to view resources, show notes, and access more Comfort Connection episodes, visit ComForConnections.com. You can also subscribe and listen to our podcast on your favorite app. Thank you for listening and helping older adults live their best life possible.